Most people believe that if they just do more, they'll get better results. If they run more tests, if they change more elements on a page, if they launch new campaigns, run more ideas, track more stuff, if they just do more, results will follow. They'll get the conversions that they need. But that's exactly what's working against them. Welcome back to another Heart Before Cart episode. I'm excited to talk to you today about the information we're all missing in order to increase conversions. Here's the thing that's so hard. We feel busy. We feel like we're doing all the things. In fact, some of us, especially last year, felt like we were burning out because we're being told to do all this stuff. And every single day, there's a new tool coming up. There's a new technology coming out. You need to be using all that stuff. And yet you feel like you're constantly doing stuff and you're not getting any results. That is the hamster wheel of optimization. That is where you feel like you're running. You are on full speed ahead, but nothing is actually happening. The tires are just spinning, but the car isn't going anywhere. Yeah, you're on a hamster wheel. The hamster wheel is quite simple. It starts by following best practices and just doing what the gurus are telling you on LinkedIn or anywhere else, where just reduce a form field, just add an exit pop-up, just try this one thing that will increase your conversions by 300%. And you're following all that stuff. When that doesn't work, we default to copying competitors. Everyone does it. We all think the competitor knows what they're doing, but they don't actually. And what happens is even worse, because as we start copying our competitors, we start sounding and looking like them. Ask yourself, if I were to switch your logo out with your competitor, would your prospect even know the difference? Most companies probably won't. So after trying all the best practices and spinning your wheels on that, and then trying to copy your competitors, still not getting the results, the actual result is that now you've made it even harder on prospects to choose you versus your competitor, because now everything just looks and sounds the same. So then the next step is tools. We throw technology at the problem. If we just adopt this AI tool, if we just use this landing page builder, if we just hire this product, it will help fix everything. And yet it doesn't, because there's no strategy behind it. We're just adding more tools and we're doing the same stuff that we did before in these tools, and that's not working. And so then we actually do that again and again and again, and we're just running in circles, and it is so tiring and is so frustrating too. If you want to get off the hamster wheel, and if you want to actually drive meaningful results, meaning you want to increase conversions, whether if it's free trials, it's sales, it's signups, you need to do the one thing no one ever thinks about, and that is you need to stop. You need to stop everything right now. I'm not saying turn off the ads or don't drive traffic or don't send emails. I'm saying you need to stop trying all the things at once. You need to actually go back to the foundation. The reason you aren't increasing conversions isn't because you aren't doing enough. It's because you're doing too much. In order to actually increase conversions, you have to go back to the foundation. And the foundation is that when someone converts, when someone decides to buy from you, they make a decision. Every single conversion is a decision, and that means that you need to understand how your prospects make decisions. If you go to your homepage right now or your pricing page and try and figure out what's not working, chances are you're going to be looking at specific elements on the page. You're going to be looking at your call to action button or your headline or the bullets or the visuals that you're using, and you're going to try and analyze it from that aspect. What's not right? What isn't working according to best practices? What are my competitors doing? But what you should actually be doing is understanding how your customers make decisions. You want to know what checklist people have when they're coming to your website? What are the must-haves? What are the things that they're trying to solve when they come to your website? What are things that they have as, concerns that might stop them from buying from you? What are things that will convince them to actually trust you and feel confident to choose you over your competitor? If you don't know that, if you don't know their pains, what drove them to your website, if you don't know the results that they're looking for on an emotional level, on a strategic level, no element changing and puzzle moving is gonna get those results for you. What you want to actually do is uncover what's missing on your page, what content is missing, what's not resonating on an emotional level. What if you're telling stories that have nothing to do with your customer? What if the testimonials that you have on the page are disconnected from what people really want proof about? What if you are actually telling stories that are putting people off, or you're talking about features that people don't care about? There's so many unanswered questions. And if you can uncover the decision-making process that your prospects make, then you can know easily what changes to make on a website. So, for example, if you will now do your research and uncover that the number one thing people want to know is if other people like them have used your solution and are happy with it, then you'll be able to scan all of your social proof and see if it actually does answer that question. If you have social proof that's just talking about, I don't know, how amazing you are, how great the product is, but it's not highlighting the fact that these are people who are just like your prospect, who felt in a certain way and then discovered how incredible this solution was, then you're not hitting the target. So in order to actually make a difference, you have to stop and you have to figure out, how do people make a decision on your website? And I want to give you two really cool ways to go about that, to uncover these things. And that is surveys. Two surveys. One is on your thank you page. So once someone has actually converted, I recommend, and we've done this for hundreds of our clients in the past, and it's given us so much quality and so many insights. After someone's converted, instead of having a little pop-up that says, check your email, you redirect them to a thank you page. And on that thank you page, you will ask them one question. And it's just one question because you don't want to ask too many. But what you want to ask them is, what was happening in your day today that led you to our website? Not why did you buy, not why did you sign up, not, where did you hear about us? What was the critical point? What happened? What was the trigger that basically said, I can't deal with this anymore, or I have to fix this, and I'm now going to figure it out, and I'm going to go to this website and I'm going to buy, or I'm going to sign up, or I don't know, going to contact someone. What was going on in your life that triggered this decision that led you to our website? If you start collecting that data, you will start seeing patterns. You will start seeing what are the main pains that people feel when they come to your website. What are the things that they're trying to solve? And if you know what they're trying to solve, then you can talk about it on your pages. You can send emails about it to your leads. You can write posts on LinkedIn, or you can do a YouTube video about it, or you could comment about that in Reddit. When you understand the pains that people feel that drive them to look for a solution or to look for you, then you can start using the words and describing the stuff that they care about most, and that will increase conversions. So that's the first survey. The second survey I would love for you guys to start running is a visitor survey. A visitor survey is for anyone who's coming to your website who hasn't converted yet. These are people who are currently, let's call them browsers. They are trying to make a decision on whether they want to buy from you or not. And the question that we love to ask for our clients is, what's stopping you from taking action right now? So if you're trying to get people to book a demo, or if you're trying to get people to get on a consulting call, or you're trying to get people to buy something, what's stopping you from buying this product right now? What's stopping you from booking your free consultation call? You ask that in order to see what information is missing on the page. And when you have that, you can also learn more about the decision-making process. So your goal in order to increase conversions, it's funny, it isn't to do more. It isn't to change more elements on the page. It's to actually go back and ask yourself, okay, what's missing on the page? Why aren't people converting? It's not the elements. Something isn't resonating, something in the way you're telling your story, something in how you explain your product, something in how people don't see themselves on the page. There's so many things that could be going wrong, but you are so focused on moving pieces of the puzzle around that we haven't taken a step back to look at the whole foundation of the thing. For us, running these two surveys has always been critical with every client project that we run, and I highly recommend that you do it. Once you start collecting all of these incredible insights from your customers and from your visitors, you can start testing this stuff out. So let's say that you have uncovered two pains that might be driving people to your website every day, that are driving people to consider you. You've looked at your thank you survey, and now you're seeing these two bold things that people keep claiming. Next, you could actually address them on your website. Or if you can't do that immediately, you could send out an email to your leads, to your email list that you're nurturing about this one specific pain that might have led them to your website. And then another email about the second pain. And then see, how do people respond? Which one do they open? Which one do they resonate with? Which one do they click through from to the website? You could even run ads about those specific pains and see how people click on them, and if they click on them, and if they resonate, and if they increase more conversions. Having that information in the palm of your hand is critical for you to be able to optimize everything that you do in your customer journey. One of my favorite examples of a survey that we ran for one of our clients is a survey that we ran for Upright. Upright has an incredible device that helps you fix your posture. And basically, it's very small. You place it on your back, and every time you slouch, it vibrates and reminds you to sit up straight. When we started doing our research, we also sent out a survey to all of the customers. And one of the things that came up, both on the customer survey and visitor survey in different ways, is that everyone wanted to fix their posture. There wasn't anyone who was on the website who was just like, oh, I just ended up here. I didn't even care about it. Every single person who came to the website was interested. But their experience with trying to fix their posture was riddled with guilt. Apparently, what was happening is that every day people would start their day off saying, today I'm going to work on my posture. I am going to sit up straight. I'm going to remind myself I'm going to get rid of all this back pain and neck pain. But what would happen is they would sit at their computer, they would start working, and they would forget to work on their posture naturally, like everyone else. So they would just think, yeah, it's impossible. I can't do it. Then when you actually talk to visitors, so we did a visitor survey, they were saying something similar. They were saying that they weren't sure if they should buy this product because they won't remember to use it anyway, or it won't help them anyway because they've tried all the stuff and it's never worked because they never actually remember, or they really want to. They have all the great intentions, but they forget. So one of the tests that we ran for Upright was removing the guilt from the audience, and also talking about the idea of outsourcing your back problem, your posture problem, to Upright. You no longer have to think about it because Upright will do the reminding for you. Most of our copy, most of our messaging, our design changed around that concept to, you will never have to think about this again. Upright makes it remembering super, super easy, and you'll be able to fix your posture in less than a week. And it's true, they have an incredible product, but unless people would have tried it and actually seen that, yeah, it does all the work for me, I don't have to remember, then they wouldn't know that it isn't another gimmick, that it isn't just one other product they're going to buy, and then in the end, it's going to sit in their drawer. So using these surveys tremendously helped this company understand what was preventing people from buying from them. And once we addressed that on the page, conversions increased by 33% on the homepage alone. And we adopted this throughout the entire customer journey, but that's just an example. So when you're thinking about optimization, you need to stop thinking about the changing of elements on the page, and you need to be thinking about, how do I reduce friction? How do I reduce the hesitation that people have and help people feel safe and confident and understood, and help people see that you're the right solution for them? So now you have 2 surveys that you can launch this week and start testing. Start collecting that data and start using it to test different ways to optimize your funnel and your customer journey. If you want to learn more about other research methods, I will link all the different resources that we have at Get Uplift in the description of this episode. And I will see you next week for another Heart Before Cart episode.